Martyn Perkins is joining us for his Year 2 report, and it was an interesting time this time last year because you were stuck right in the middle of the whole Manx gas thing. I mean, that was in full flow, and you had your ups and downs of that. But I think I have to ask you, where are we up to? Because another year's gone by and it's still up in the air. You've got a committee, the Chief Minister's got a committee, everyone's got committees.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I know we record this in September, not for transmission till October, so are things moving along or what?
Things are moving, Paul. The OFT is obviously having to wait until the Chief Minister's Committee reports back in December.
Is that problematical? You've got these two committees or what?
No, the Office of Fair Trading are keeping an eye on it, and the renewal of the contract or the agreement comes up in December, and we can set the ball rolling. But of course, I can't do anything until Minister Thomas comes back with the Chief Minister's recommendations, whatever they are.
Okay, from the outside point of view, this sounds odd that these are running in parallel, not united, but anyway.
I think they want a different slant. I think the Chief Minister wants a completely different slant on what we're doing. There's an anomaly that the Office of Fair Trading is the regulator and also the champion for the public. The two don't really fit with each other when you look at it as an outsider, and we need to see how we can take things forward. Okay. And I'm quite easy with it. I mean, from the public's point of view, yes, we want to have a review and get it sorted once and for all, because
another year's gone by. I mean, that's the scary thing, isn't it?
Well, we were
you were a
tied to
businessman before this.
Yeah, we were tied to the agreement, and that's it. So that's where we're at with that, really.
Okay. Yeah. What else has happened during your year?
Oh, yeah. What hasn't happened before?
I mean, it's economic development, right? I mean, enterprise is the right word, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was, but we had to reduce numbers because of the Lisvane report.
Right.
Yeah, and because I had OFT and also I'm in DEFA.
So that one went.
It was me that
Excuse
went.
me, I should
but I've got a very good relationship with Minister Skelly.
Right.
And I'm still responsible for satellites and various other things that we. He seconds me across.
So you do a bit.
A little bit, yeah, and I think that's great.
How's DEFA then?
Yeah, DEFA is very good. Responsible for food and drink, and of course this weekend. Obviously, we're
recording this, but you've got a big event.
It's a food and drink festival, which everybody's been working very hard, worth 75 million to the economy of the Isle of Man. If you count the multiplier effect, that bumps it up to 140, almost double what is produced. So to the island economy, the food and drink is very, very popular. And one of the other things that I think is vitally important, it sends a very good message off island. When we send our cheese worldwide, people think, what a fantastic product we've got. And they learn all about the grass-fed animals and the fantastic biosphere we've got, the clear environment, and all that sort of thing. And it really stands us in good stead.
Of course, the milk people have, of course, gone over to getting away from plastic a bit more now, so that's probably another thing.
Getting a lot greener, indeed, and that's vitally important.
But your year, I mean, what would be your highlights on the previous year that's just gone, the 12 months? You know,
I'm just amazed at the amount of legislation we've got through. I think it's, and I stand corrected, it's something like 23 bills in 2 years, so that's an average of a bill a sitting for Tynwald. And I don't know how that pans out.
Which ones were you involved in? Anything particular you added your tuppence to?
Yeah, I'm very pleased. And the one we haven't got through yet is the abortion bill. That was one for me that was very important. But I mean, there's all sorts of other sort of stuff. The other one that was important was the Legislative Council election bill, and that to me set the baseline of the new administration. We looked at the problem. The election went on and on and on and on, and it didn't do the Manx, the image any good of Tynwald itself. And what we decided to do was to make the elections non-secretive. They're completely open, and I think the key thing was we didn't want it to be a retirement home for old MHKs, and we passed the legislation and it had the desired effect. A result came through on the first round, and we've got some very talented MLCs that work very hard at the scrutiny, and also they fit in well with the department work they do.
Remind me, your views on MLCs, elected or just done as is now? I mean,
I'm the same. Leave it as it is now, because if they're elected by the public, they become another MHK, and
super MHK.
Well, yeah, but their job is scrutinising the legislation and keeping us on the right track.
Now, I thought you'd mention the organ donation as well, because that was something you were pushing this time last year. Where are we up to? Is it gone through?
No. We've had the consultation. And we've had
dreaded consultation.
Yeah, it's got to be consulted on. 296 responses, including
rough balance. Do you have any?
Mainly four. Yeah.
So people will have to opt out in future rather than opting in as it is now?
That's correct, yeah. If you don't want your organs to be donated, you opt out.
Right.
But it's just fine-tuning exactly how we do it.
Will this pass this year then, do you think?
Yes, it will. Yeah, well, I'm hoping it will.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other problem is that there's a whole raft of legislation for Brexit, which is going to clog the works up. And government has got to prioritise. For example, if there's something that's, we can't get our food exported, we've got to make sure that we tweak our laws to make sure that comes in line with the UK. And you look at the legislation over there, and it's something like 80 odd pages for the law, and we do it in 5 pages, and we've got to sort of I can't remember what the word is. Functional equivalence, I believe, is the word that's being bandied around.
Rather than just writing it word for word.
We've got to do our own thing, keep it brief and keep it simple, and make sure we get those laws in place that we can still carry out trading.
So other things coming up this year that you got your eye on? Anything else that's in the next 12 months?
There's quite the programme for government is vast, and I just hope we can keep that on track with all the other stuff that's going on.
For government, the spend feel at the minute, buying the steam packet. What was it?
Steam packet. I think that's one of the other things I think we are doing, and it's sort of in the psyche of the new house is we're future-proofing the island. And we're doing the prom, we're tidying all that lot up. We've bought the steam packet, and people argue about the price and one thing and another. But just the thing that comes home to me is the last 4 administrations all looked at buying the steam packet at one time or another. We went out and did it, and the due diligence that was done had to be kept under wraps because it was a commercial deal. And the report we had on the vessels was particularly of interest because my maritime interest. The vessels are well used, but they've been well maintained. And we bought it now. Yeah.
You know more than we do, because again, time recording, the Isle of Man newspapers have got a freedom of information request in which is still being held up in the works.
Yeah.
Will we know what you know?
I'm sure you will. It will come out in the wash in the end.
And why don't we already know? But then that's another question.
It's a commercial deal done and dusted. I mean, the 2 things that worried me about that was, one, the state of the vessels, but it was put to rest when I had a look at the survey by eminent surveyors. The second thing was I was concerned with buying the whole thing lock, stock and every nut and bolt to the link span, because with all the shell companies and all this stuff, we needed to make sure that the due diligence had been done and the Treasury Department had done that.
So that's a big success in your book?
In my book, yeah. And people argue about the £70 million loan, but taking that out of reserves, we're getting more interest back from the steam packet than we would have done had we left it in reserves. And I'm quite laid back about that. The money's staying on the island,
Sure. Are you enjoying yourself? Yeah. Is that the right term even for you? I mean, do you call it enjoyment, or is it going to the office, feel to it?
There's good days and bad days, Paul, and the good days outweigh the bad.
Are you communicating better? Or you say media training this time last year.
Yeah.
Did you get some?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
That's only the ministers get that, I think.
Seat of the pants. And you know me, I shoot from the hip, I tell you as I see it, and that's it.
Have you learnt a lot though, do you think? Is this it now? I mean, because the first year, everyone's learning, now this is it. You've got X amount of years to start to live.
The honeymoon period's over, and the apprenticeship is gone. We're in it for real now.
You and Daphne Kane.
Yep.
Do you work as a team?
We do very much as a team.
I mean, does that, in its sense, cause a problem down the line? I mean, do you end up both standing the next election as a a twosome thing, or are you independent? Do you have your own views, or do you?
We do have our own views, and we have discussion
debates.
Well, in the office we do, but. The beauty of having 2 MHKs in a constituency, some like to deal with one person, some like to deal with somebody else.
Sure. But you share information, do you?
We do, yeah. We copy each other in on emails, and for example, I've been on holiday for 2 weeks, and Daph's picked up quite a bit of stuff, and then when she goes away, I pick up her stuff.
You also mentioned last time you were on this Commonwealth parliamentary thing, and the effort, or it gave you something.
Oh yeah.
Only I haven't asked anybody else this yet, but I mean, do you still value that sort of thing?
Oh, the experience on the legislative process.
Have you been on many? I was going to say jollies, but you know what I mean.
Well, we'll come on to jollies in a minute, Paul.
Really?
Okay. It was valuable experience, and in fact, Daphne's going on it now.
Okay.
Yeah, but this business about jollies, it really niggles me, because one of the things I do feel that we should be doing more of is getting out there and selling the Isle of Man. You know, my business experience has told me you can't sit in your office and wait people to come in and place orders with you. You've got to go out there. You've got to network.
So where did you go in the last 12 months? Have you been anywhere?
Well, I haven't. I mean,
you haven't,
yeah, but I'm watching the Chief Minister doing his Brexit stuff, which is fine, and that is needed. Right. And Minister Skelly's got people going to China and a few other places, but we've got to broaden the outlook, you know. And there's the North American Manx Association we should be using, the Canadian, Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, Scandinavian, was it Destination Viking? We should be using all of that to get people's interest on the island.
And things that expand then, where do you stand on that one? You know, to go and spend the money on the harbour?
In Liverpool?
No, both. I'm talking about deep water and
deep water berth. I think we need it. Again, it's future-proofing the island. We need to focus on the cruise liner trade, the small liners, not the great huge ones, the small ones that spend more money ashore. And if we don't do it, we'll get left behind. And I believe we actually need to do that.
What's the view inside the house these days? I'm not scoring you yet, but do you get on with most people?
Oh yeah.
Is it just business there? And you get on with most people.
I do, Paul, you know, but I'm not afraid to fight. I'll tell you straight if I really don't think so.
Do you want to be a minister yet?
No, I've no aspirations whatsoever. I've seen the grief some of the ministers get, and I think I'm a good right-hand man. And
wingman, I think.
My views haven't changed since last time.
And department-wise, any ideas you'd like to go somewhere else? Or,
No, I'm quite happy in DEFA, and as I say, I'll still maintain my satellite because I'm the qualified person to do the trustees of the Strasbourg satellite thing. I'm still maintain that, and I work with Lawrence. I mean, I don't hide my light under a bushel. If something comes up, I introduce other people to it, and for example, I was in Bergen in Norway last year, and there are students that are interested in coming to the Isle of Man doing something, and of course been talking to the education people about that, and this is all part and parcel of the networking. And one thing also I'm very keen to do is to make sure the island pulls its socks up. Now, the experience that we give them when they get off the plane, they shouldn't be waiting any more than 15 minutes for their luggage. They should come out of that airport, get in a clean taxi that doesn't smell of cigarettes, with a smart taxi driver and a smart car that doesn't whinge and moan about the island all the way to Douglas. And when they get to the hotel, the receptionist is businesslike and books them in, and their rooms are clean, tidy, and what they're expecting. And we have to raise our standards. There are some very good people out there. There's some great taxi drivers, don't get me wrong. But we have to raise standards all around, and it's the ones that don't come up to scratch is what we have to address.
We'll pop at the taxi drivers.
No, it's the customer service that we offer. We have to roll out the red carpet when we get people coming here, and we have to make them want to come back again.
Starts at the airport, though. I mean, I've talked to the Chief Minister about how at one stage it was so grubby in there. It was really grubby, and then he got new cleaners or whatever.
Yep.
But you come to pick up people at the airport and they still move you on and all this sort of thing. It's like, do you think the whole thing doesn't have a good start to your feet when you arrive here?
Yeah, and you walk out, you turn right, and there's all the cigarette butts and God knows what. And we have to sharpen our act. And the last thing you want is, and I'm not having a pop against taxi drivers, but people need to be smart, they need to be upbeat, they need to be helpful, and we want people to come back, and that's the important thing. Raise interest in them on the island, and they want to come back, bring Granny and the kids for a holiday. That's the business people that
You should be in tourism.
Tourism's actually doing a good job, believe it or not. And
you like tourism, I think.
Yeah, well,
there you go.
It's just selling
flagging it up there.
It's selling the Isle of Man, isn't it? And if you have a business, this is what you do. It doesn't matter how you go about it. You generate an interest, and you want people to come and find out about. Join the party that's going on.
Okay.
And
well, I've known you for many years, and you seem to not change, which is one of those nice ones. Because I can tell you, some people they do change as the time goes on.
Yeah.
you're approachable, that sort of thing. You don't mind being stopped in the street and in the supermarkets, that sort of thing. Does that happen?
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Is that your sort of
that
communication?
hasn't changed. And you go out for a pint of milk and a loaf of bread, and 3 hours later you're still talking to people.
Excellent.
But that's the way it goes. That's politics on the Isle of Man, Paul. And I don't think I'd change it.
We brought along this with you. I don't know if you had things on there you
No,
wanted to
I've
ask you. No, okay. Because I think it's time to really, unless you've got anything else, should we get the numbers in?
No, that's it. What else have we got?
What else have we got in there?
Oh, the other thing is that tourism is alive and well. You hear all this nonsense about, we're dying on our feet.
Yeah.
Premier Inn and the big boys that are putting a development in Lord Street, they would not be coming here if they had any doubts about the future of the Isle of Man.
There's tax benefits. There's going to be something going on, isn't there? People don't do anything these days unless they've got something that they're getting.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be
that naive. Now, come on, you know that there'll be sweeteners here. I mean, not saying bungs. I'm saying tax incentives or something.
It'll be worth their while, but they wouldn't do it if they didn't have if they didn't think the revenue was coming through.
I've got to ask this now. I've seen it. Laxey sewage scheme.
Laxey sewage scheme. Yeah,
no
let's get it in. Come on, let's get it in
and raise
now.
the sea level. Oh, raise the wall, the sea level.
Yeah, the wall.
The sea level.
Laxey just does not want that sea wall. And that is one thing I'm going to fight that corner pretty hard.
Should we go down there and do a piece on that? We should have a look at it.
Yeah,
we'll come down.
Yeah.
See what happens.
And we've spoken to the DOI and the MUA because it's one of these grey areas that sort of fits in between, because we've got a flood scheme going on farther up the river. And the wall would, in my opinion, I'm not a structural engineer, it wouldn't help.
What can you do if the tide's going up all the time? Well, you've got to do something, right?
Yeah,
you want glass?
But the thing is, after glaciers came, the land is, the land was compressed down by the glaciers, and the land is actually coming up. So who's done the sums to? I don't know. I mean,
not a global warming.
Yeah, so we don't.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Yourself, out of 10, please.
Top 7.
Was that last time?
About last time, yeah. And government, I would say 8.
Same as last time as well.
Yeah, we're
steady as she goes.
We're doing all right, steady as we go. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us, and we look forward to catching up with you. And we're going to do sea walls very soon.
See you in year 3. Okay, thanks, Paul.